Hello. I am going to invite Ali and we are going live. There we go. So, Ali and I are going to chit chat about pretty much carbs because everybody's scared of carbs and dieting and everything. And Ali's like in a very, very severe crazy girl cut right now. So, we're going to end up talking about that. Hey, Ali!
What is up? Oh, look, they have cool filters on here.
There we go. How are you over there? How's your diet going?
What's going on? I'm alive. That's all I'll say. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I'm handling it. I think this week is the first week that I was kind of like tired. You know what I mean?
You're not human with what you're eating. Wait, so you would have been dieting on higher calories if you actually did your growing phase a little bit more like what you were doing.
Yeah. Like, I don't tell people what I'm dieting on, so I don't talk about my weight or my calories, because you know how a lot of people will be like, oh, that's what I should eat in order to get however smaller or something they want. But throughout the winter, like, you know, Luke and Shane wanted me to eat a lot more than I really wanted to. Not that I don't love food, but it was like the second that I would put like 2 pounds on, I would freak the hell out. I didn't like that I felt soft and fluffy. And so, you know, poor Shane's like, fine, we'll go a little bit lower. So point being, I could be dieting on a lot less had I listened to my coach, but, you know, do as I say, not as I do.
We're kind of like that. But hey, we both started the same, where we literally were on probably half the amount of carbs that they ended up putting us on.
Yep.
So about the start of the whole carb, I love you now, but I hated you before thing.
Well, you eat these massive, like, first of all, Weetabix is like a thing in Australia. Like, we have it here, but nobody eats it like in the fitness world the way that you guys do. So you have these like massive, your bowls of cereal like make me laugh, because you'd be like, oh yeah, it's oats, and it's like the size of like what you're supposed to like make a salad in for 12 people.
So why were you so scared of carbs to start with? Like, how long did it take you to finally get yourself to eat the amount of carbs that Shane and Luke were telling you to eat?
Probably a year, I would say. So like, you've done the program design course. So there was a course in the Netherlands that they filmed that Luke was lecturing, and he was talking about how, you know, females will come to us eating 1,100 calories and be afraid of carbs, and it'll take us 9 months to fix them. And I'm like, gee, that sounds familiar, and we'll pump their calories to 2,400. And so he was talking about me, and I had come to them where I was like, I cannot lose weight no matter what I did. I would fast and do cardio while being fasted and not eat for an entire day, eat 1 meal a day. Still didn't work. And part of this was the health issues residual from having breast implants and all that. But I was terrified that like, I couldn't handle carbs. I was a special snowflake that physiologically I'm different than everyone else. I can't handle the carbs. I'm sorry, I'm different. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I put on 3 kilos, which is the most that he says any of the women put on. And being 5'3", like you're short like me, that feels like 60, you know? So I was like, oh my God, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. So it took a lot of pushing back and then finally listening. And I was up to around 300 something carbs like a year later. And I was like, yeah, this is like cool. This is delicious and it works. And I'm an asshole for not listening.
So what benefits did you actually feel from being on pretty much no carbs to now eating 4 times what you used to eat? Like, what changes did you start to see and feel?
So, as you know, the energy is like unquestionable. Just the difference that you feel in training. You can train harder, you can lift a lot more, your muscles are a lot harder. You just don't feel so taxed and depleted after training on a hard program. And I think that it does have the ability to increase your body composition favorably, where if you don't eat carbs, you're not going to experience that. That's why a lot of people who do a, let's call it lower carb or a ketogenic diet, feel more like skinny fat or flat and like kind of just, they can't get that pump. And so you obviously get a massive pump when you eat carbohydrates and stuff. And it's just really, it's awesome, you know? So it's not a way to live life. Granted, again, if you have a medical problem or you're diabetic or whatever, you know, there's ways around that. But for women who are training hard, or who are at least our clients who are training 3 to 4 days a week, you don't want to do that not eating carbohydrates. And for our guys too. Like, I know you work with a lot of women, I work with a lot of men, and it's the same thing. Like, you know, people peg women as the ones that are terrified of the scale and terrified of carbs and all that stuff. It's a lot of men. So
It's crazy how many people are actually fearful of food. Like, I have one of my girls who is like, but how can I actually be eating so much food, yet my goal is to lose weight? Like, I'm trying to lose weight. Why am I eating so much food? Like, they have this notion that they're supposed to be eating like freaking starvation calories to be able to even drop any real weight. And it's like, no, but look at yourself. Like, look at where you are at now is what you have been doing to get to where you are now working. And then there's a whole testing, which we're actually going to dig into. Because if you are stressed out, and stress isn't just, I feel stressed from work, or I feel stressed because my partner's being a shit flake. Like, stress is everything from training to dieting to people think that they cannot actually rest. Like, no rest days. We're going to go do all the cardio. We're going to go do all the training. We're going to friggin', oh, it's a rest day today. Why don't we go for a run? It's like, no, you don't realize that you need to actually have your body in a relaxed state to be able to use the nutrients that are in your body. Like, if you're feeding yourself carbs and you're in a stressed state, you're not actually able to absorb, assimilate, and then burn those carbs because they're not getting into the muscle cell. Like, for example, if you're eating decent amount of food and then going to the gym and you feel fat yet flat, that's because your muscles aren't actually uptaking the carbs because, hello, you're stressed out. Your body isn't in a position where it actually cares about building muscle tissue. It's catabolic, not only because you're smashing it in the gym, but catabolic because you're stressed out. So stress, let's talk a bit more about how stress actually holds you back.
Ooh. Yeah, I think, I mean, you bring up a great point where, you know, there are times where people will say, like, I can't tolerate carbohydrates. That may very well be true. It's just not the way that they think it, not the way that I thought it, right? So, you know, if somebody has a lot of stress in their life, they're sitting, like we're sitting right now, we're burning fat, or we should be. People who are highly stressed are burning carbohydrates. And so the problem with that is that their body basically gets tired of trying to churn out all these carbs because it thinks that we're running from a lion when in fact we're just sitting down. And that can really mess up your physiology in the way that your body utilizes carbs and fats. And I'll tell you one thing, since moving to Florida, my stress level, like my heart rate is 20 beats per minute lower. I'm not around people that are intense and very, I don't know, COVID-y, you want to call it. Like, it was just crazy up in the New York City area. Coming to a climate that's warm, similar to what you guys have every day, not a lot of rain, all that stuff, stress levels have come down. It's allowed my body to respond a lot better. And I think that we take for granted the environment that we're in. And there's that saying where if a goldfish dies or gets sick, you don't change the goldfish, you change the environment that it's in if the water's dirty and all that stuff. So I know not everyone has the ability to change their environment and climate, but you can choose who you surround yourself with, people wise, the types of habits that you get yourself into. You have the choice for that. And, you know, people, like, it's the identity thing. You know, I was talking about this on stories the other day, and how, you know, you and I were going back and forth, where it's the habitual interventions that are really going to bring you to success. It's not just 1 week of, you know, eating meals that you prep yourself and all that. It's ingraining these habits that are similar to brushing your teeth. Why do people brush their teeth? Well, they know it's good for them. They know that eating a certain way is good for them, but why don't they do that? Well, they don't see the value in that yet. And over time, if you start making one meal a day, over time you get used to that. Maybe you like that. You know, now I love, like, he has me doing the salt bike in the morning just for 15 minutes. I'm like addicted to that because it gets me going. Go for a walk. That's a habit now. Like, I'm not going to have that taken away. So.
You actually just brought up something I was listening to yesterday on, because I'm actually trying to study more into like the brain, because I find neuroscience so interesting. He was saying about the dopamine, how strong of a molecule dopamine is, that if you're just focusing on rewarding the end outcome and not rewarding the process in itself, you're massively short-changing yourself, because the dopamine response is it's an immediate molecule. So if you actually reward the process of the struggle, and you realize, like, you saw the post on this I put up yesterday, like, it's not always meant to be easy. Like, sometimes you need to make the sacrifice. Sometimes allowing in a donut into your day is the most sabotaging thing you can do. Like, there was a girl that I spoke to that was doing comp prep, and she's like, I almost broke it over a banana. I almost had a freaking banana, and I was crying over a banana that I called my coach, and I was like, there's this banana, I'm about to eat it, I'm not going to eat it, I'm going to throw it into the sink so that it tastes like shit, and I'm not going to eat it. I just have to tell you because I'm in tears right now and I'm crying. And then she goes to me, that banana wasn't going to, like, kill my whole prep, but it's like, okay, if I allow this banana into my diet, that's like saying, okay, so I let this in, and then it becomes a habit. It becomes that, like, that chain reaction of, okay, so I let that in now. Oh, it's just a little crumb here. Oh, it's just a little bite off my partner's plate. Like, it becomes part of your routine of what you do. Like, don't let a chain become a chain. Like, you need to actually, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So with what he was saying about the dopamine molecule, is that if you reward the process along the way, no matter how hard it is, and actually reward the actions you're not doing, like, if there's something that you usually do that you actually put a stop to, like, if you would usually snack when you get home, when it's that habit cue reaction thing, if you reward not snacking, then you're actually like that dopamine with the struggle, you're allowing yourself to fall in love with the struggle, and it's like celebrating the struggle. You fall in love with actually struggling through the process, and realize that as soon as you've come across these problems again in the future, they're not actually struggles anymore, but you're facing tougher struggles, because those ones your brain has already habituated as, no, this is rewarding because I feel good about doing it and it's making me who I want to become. So rewarding the process, there is so much more to it through the brain than just simply, this is what I'm going to do because it's who I want to become. And same with that banana analogy. Like, a lot of our beliefs come from when we were younger. I always had ingrained in me from my parents, no, you never finish anything. We're not going to put you into that. Or you quit anyway. So I always had it in me. I never finish anything. I can't do a task. There's no point trying because I'm a quitter. And then I developed over time, no, I'm not quitting through this. I'm actually going to push past the pain. I went above and beyond to develop that identity of, no, I never quit. Even to my detriment, where I was the whole go hard, go home, no days off type of thing. But that was what I needed to do to show to myself that I can do it. And now when I was with Ben, when Ben gave me this crazy ass assault bike where I actually had to do, I think it was 100 calories or 120 no, it was 160 calories on the assault bike. Yeah. And then I had to do a 20-minute run on the treadmill straight after it. And then it was a 3-kilometer row. So that assault bike killed the shit out of me. I always wanted to quit at about the 60-calorie mark. And I'm like, nah, I got 100 left to go. And I'm like, no, I'll stop at 100. As soon as I got to 60, I'm like, no, I'll stop at 100. At least that's a little bit further. Since I got to 100, I'm like, I'm not a quitter. My identity, I do not quit. And because I have that identity in me as I do not quit, because I know what the, like, you attach it to how you don't want to feel as well. It's like, yeah, I want to feel this way, but I know that if I quit, I'm going to feel like shit. Like, there were days when I was in comp prep mode, when I was doing comp prep years ago, when I skipped the gym a couple of days, and that whole day was misery for me. Like, it actually stuck with me as my identity. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. And that whole day was shit. It's like, no, I know how I feel if I do not carry through with my word. So I am going to stick to my word. I say I'm going to do something and I do it, because it's the most rewarding feeling afterwards, because you're proving to yourself that you'll do what you said you were going to do. Just like Miss Crazy Ass getting shredded lean, like, what you're doing isn't even normal. Like, we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations because I saw it in someone's story. Make your gym training, make your, whatever you do in the gym, whatever you do in your training, the hardest thing you do in the day. The rest of the day should be pretty cruisy, because you don't want to bring that, like, have that stressed environment outside of the gym. That's where you should be focusing on rest and recovery. Let's talk about the importance of rest and recovery, actually.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of great points. And I think, a lot of people struggle to find what that routine is for them and what everything means to them to finish these things. Like, for me, I had always, people will relate to this. I always deviated off plan. So we're not talking a structured plan as eat this meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. It was more, well, I know I can get away with this, so I'm going to have nibbles of this. And what has helped me through this prep, I call it a prep, is like, all right, if there's a treat or something that I'm used to eating now, which is a lot of white rice and sushi that I don't have right now, it's going to be there in a few months. And this is a short-term thing for me, but it is a sustainable thing because it's getting to the next level lean, but I'm not going to blow up after, because number one, we have excellent coaches that would never let that happen, but we have the physiology to do that. And we've set the habits in place where our mindset understands that that's the route to go. A lot of our clients struggle because they don't set those habits in place. And the coach I just brought on, we have a client that we're dealing with where she just wants us to tell her what to eat and when. And it's not like that, because you have to actually put in the effort of understanding what you want to have during the day for meals and how to portion out those meals. Because if you and I give clients what to eat throughout the whole day, they're not going to learn. They're not going to learn how to make the right choices. They're going to depend on us the rest of our lives. And it's like, all right, if you want to pay us for the rest of your lives, that's your choice. Our goal is to not have you depend on us. And our goal is to have you be able to make those choices and know that those habits are instilled in you for long enough where you can now do things in a sustainable way. And that involves rest and recovery, because we do have a lot of people that come to us that are used to that whole go hard or go home mentality. And it's very similar with fitness professionals. The whole, as Luke says, the hashtag fuck cardio and beast mode, and he's developed and trademarked least mode. Well, it's like, all right, how hard can you recover? We have all the tech and wearables to show heart rate and HRV and sleep and all that. Show that off. Get good sleep. Do what is required to obtain those numbers. And I think that that's the part that's not glorified enough, where it's like, all right, I eat this, I trained this, I did this in my workout, I got my heart rate up to here. That's great. How many naps did you take this week? Or how many massages did you take? Or, you know, have you been able to get your HRV up? Have you been able to get your resting heart rate down? And that's why I started posting about getting my heart rate down. Like, I don't really care what I get it in my training or my conditioning as much as how low can I get it when I sleep. And that's a big part of that, because if people can't recover, there's absolutely no point in them training hard, and they don't deserve to train hard. And I will tell my clients that I'll say it, like, you're clearly not recovering. We can either go, you know, take away some training, or we can add food. And usually they'll choose adding food, and then they'll add food and they'll train harder. They'll feel a lot better. And then obviously everything has to come to an end at some point where, all right, maybe we come off of that. We go on vacation. You don't train as much. You sleep a little better, you know, stuff like that. Where it's an ebb and a flow throughout the whole year for the rest of your life. Not for 6 weeks, not for 3, for the rest of your life.
That's where people fall short. It's realizing that you have your whole life to do this. Like, why are you in a rush? Because the more you rush the process, if you do it right, you only have to really do it once. That's Luke's little thing as well. You touched on more points as well. So there's that whole, like, if you're waking up with, I always try to get the resting heart rate of my girls. That's the main thing I get. A lot of them aren't willing to do the rest. But if you're waking up with a resting heart rate of like 80 beats per minute, and then you go into the gym, like, where is your heart rate going to go from there? From like 80, then you go like on a leg press, or you do some intense freaking HIIT training. You go from 80 to bloody like 100 and what? Like, where exactly is your heart and your body at a resting state? Where exactly are you allowing your body to recover? Because that is exactly what is going to shut down your cells. Because if you're not allowing your cells to oxygenate, then if you realize when people say oxidize fat, the part of that is oxygen. And you need to be in a relaxed state to actually allow your cells to get where it needs, like, to get the materials it needs to then be able to burn that. And that's exactly why even Luke says, like, you can be in a calorie surplus but still be in a nutrient deficit. Like, if you aren't getting the nutrients you need either, or your gut health is in a really bad place that you can't absorb those, and gut health also ties to stress. If you can't absorb the vitamins themselves, then your metabolism is going to suffer, because we rely on a lot of vitamin D, a lot of B vitamins, which comes from a lot of your leafy greens and a lot of your green veg, and magnesium. And then people sprinkle on pink salt instead of iodized salt, and then there goes, well, what are you actually giving your body to help support your thyroid if you're not giving yourself iodine? But then you also said the whole, like, this is a short-term thing that you're doing, and the reason you're able to actually push through this short-term phase is because it's just that, it's short-term. But people are forever trying for the whole year to lose the last 5 pounds, the last 5 kilos, the last 10 pounds, the last 10 kilos. It's like, how long have you been trying to lose the last 5 kilos or 5 pounds? Like, how long? Because if you're chronically trying to chronically diet, your brain doesn't see an end to that. It isn't going to be sustainable in any shape, way, or form. So you need to realize that. You just said it in your little statement as well. You have the physiology for it. You're not going to blow out after. And you're actually losing fat. Like, I watched you from the very start, and I could tell that you were in a cutting phase straight away, because you could tell. And your body responded straight away. I tagged you in the last post that I did this morning as well. That is exactly what we just spoke about. Like, you shouldn't be dieting your whole life. It only should be about once or twice in a year. Like, you need to build your body up to a place where it will actually respond. Because if we're going to put you into a deficit and your body isn't actually doing what it's supposed to do, were you in a place to diet in the first place? Like, COVID was a blessing in disguise. Except last year I was very lost. It's normal to feel lost, because my identity was, hey, I'm a bodybuilder. Then it took me ages to actually turn that identity into, hey, I'm a powerlifter. I lift heavy damn shit and I'm a small girl. That was my identity. I loved that. And it took ages for me to let go of the weight on the bar and that whole powerlifting identity and morph into, what the heck do I want? Like, what do I want? And then that's when someone said to me, but you only really need a baseline of strength. Like, what exactly is that strength going to do for your life? And like, what exactly is it going to do for you? Like, where does it lead into the rest of your life? You only need that baseline of strength, and you clearly have that. And it got me thinking. And then I realized how unfit I was as well. Like, whenever I went for my runs and just all that other stuff, and I still felt very chunky and like I wasn't metabolizing my food properly. And then as soon as I got the hobby of running, as soon as I let go of all that expectation, I don't even have a weight that I need to be for comp anymore. Like, Luke wants me to drop the weight to be able to have more mechanical efficiency for my running. So that's the reason why he's cutting my food back. But the thing is, I was on 2,500 calories. He only cut me to 2,350, 2,400. And I lost 3 kilos just on that. Like,
It's amazing.
with the smallest amount of calorie drop, I was able to lose that much. Whereas before, it was a slug. And I never thought that I could actually hold a deficit, because I had it in my head from the last time I tried to lose weight for comps, for powerlifting. This is fucked. Like, I can't do this. I'm scared of dieting. I want to maintain my weight at this low weight because I don't want to have to go into a diet and struggle.
Yeah.
And then after going through all of this and building myself up and being at a maintenance and not giving a shit about my weight for 2 years and just focusing on performance and feeding up, just from that little calorie drop, my body responded just like that. And then he got me back up to 2,500. And he's like, yeah, we're down to 57 now, because I was at 61 before. And then got down to 57. And then all of a sudden he's like, take out 50 grams of carbs. Within a week, I dropped down to what he wanted. Like, my body's actually responding now because I have the physiology for it. I'm not focusing on weight loss.
Yeah.
And now since this is over, I can actually start feeding up again. Like, stop focusing on how little you can eat and stop wearing that as your badge of honor for, hey, look, I'm actually cutting this much food now because I'm losing weight. No, you should actually be trying to feed yourself up, reducing your stress, and stop making your whole, this is actually something I want to talk about with you. People make so much of their life around what they're training, what they're eating, the numbers and figures of their macros and numbers. And like, you just need to get shit done. Just log it, leave it. Stop obsessing over it. I log it on a Friday, and then every single day I just copy it over, because I eat the same shit every day, never change it. Literally, I've eaten the same stuff for the last 3 weeks. I don't care. I love my food. And that's the importance of creating food that you love into your thing. Like, I changed the stevia drops that I put on just as flavoring. It's like, I need like that. It's either maple, it's either toffee, or it's either maple, toffee, or the vanilla one. So I just change my flavor drops for what flavoring I want on my chicken or whatever else I cook. That's it. And I put chicken salt on everything. Like, I don't need to make shit complex, because my life isn't surrounding that food. Like, I eat the food, I enjoy the shit out of it, move on with my day, because there's other important things to life. Like, if you're so obsessed over, no, I need to lose this fat, no, I'm not comfortable in my body, no, I'm just going to be this timid little person, you're shortchanging yourself. Like, you need to think about being more of yourself, and that's when you will actually become the person you want to be, and your body will respond in the way it needs to be. All that stress is what's holding you back, that lack of sleep, your environment, your relationships, like you said with the environment. It's not just the people you surround yourself with, but it's the stuff you look at on social media. Like, if you're seeing people that are like anti-diet, but that's fighting your want to actually change your body shape, because people are taking it to the extreme of either anti-diet or diet. It's like, since when did diet get such a negative connotation? It's got nothing to do with anti-diet or pro-diet. It's got to do with actually getting your body to a place where you're physiologically healthy, you're mentally healthy, and you're confident. Like, healthy means something different to everybody. And BMI is actually still a thing. Like, it is still a thing. And people keep dismissing BMI. Like, when I had that heavier BMI, because I was all muscle, that was still pretty damn unhealthy for the heart, for the load on my heart. Maybe you can actually go into that because of Charlie and stuff. But BMI and all that stuff.
Well, I think a big part of it too, and I always said to Luke, I wish there was a way that we can show our clients what will happen on the other side. So the hardest part being, I would say, being a reformed chronic dieter, which many people who are watching and you and I, a reformed chronic dieter is somebody who has continuously undereaten for years and trained a lot. To force yourself to gain weight, to be able to have a responsive body again is probably one of the most difficult things, both mentally and physically, for somebody to take on. And I think that if we can show them what is happening inside physiologically while they eat more, while they rest, while they give their body a break, then the light will start to happen and show. But it's so difficult because even though the scale's not moving and they may feel fluffy and feel watery and all those things that we felt, there's so much good happening at that time that we just can't show them. And that's when a lot of people quit, because it does take around 4 to 12 months, depending on, how deep in the hole somebody is. So that's a big thing. Like, I'm sure you have to have that discussion a lot with the women, and with my guys, I'm like, hey, I need you to eat more. I need you to eat more for a while. And guess what happens? Most of the time, they don't really gain any weight. And people have that buffer of like 40% that you can just add calories. Nothing happens. They may feel fluffier, but guess what? It's not body fat. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I can do this. I can handle this. And then they continue to eat more. When I tell people I've only dropped 2 kilos, they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I am 5'3". I am short. I've only dropped 2 kilos throughout this entire cut, roughly 2 kilos throughout the last 3 years. Because when you can recomp and drop body fat and build muscle, it stays a lot longer. So it's more sustainable because I'm not losing muscle mass. I'm actually dropping body fat, and that's why it's slow as hell and it's only a little bit, but I look completely different. And so that's one of the things that I don't know about you, but I find it very difficult to be able to explain to people because it's not something we can tangibly show them. And there's not really objective data unless they want to do all this advanced lab work, which we know is not really necessary all the time. But still, if we can show them their insides and be like, your body's happy, wouldn't that be so much easier?
Yeah, exactly. And people don't realize that dropping kilos isn't just dropping fat. It's everything, including water. And that's one of the reasons I lost so much to start with. Like, yeah, okay, I started at 61 and dropped all the way to 57 so easily. But what training was I doing then, and what was I eating then? I was eating a lot more carbs, and I was doing highly metabolic work, like highly metabolic, to the point where my legs were this big because they were full of blood. So as soon as I stopped training 5 days a week with Luke's intense freaking training that he gave me for hypertrophy for my legs, because I had legs, upper, and then another legs day, that's a lot of freaking blood in my legs. So if I went to all of that to just 3 days full body training, like, I dropped a lot of water. It wasn't muscle, it was a lot of water weight. So it made it a lot more dramatic when losing my first lot of kilos. Like, you need to look at the whole picture, like, zoom the hell out. Dude. Everyone is so perfectly focused on fat, and like, literally they're just focused on fat and weight, nothing else. Like, just that number on the scale. Okay, cool. What does that entail? Like, yeah, okay, maybe I dropped a lot when I dropped 50 grams of carbs, but there's water that comes with carbs too. Like, water with muscle, with carbs. Like, there's a lot that comes with that.
That'll be like a forever educational process. And I've told people over and over, like I said this the other day, because I have a lot of the Muscle Nation sports bras. They're not that big in the US here, but they have really fun prints. For those watching, I had breast implants 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago, I got them taken out. So I literally have like a negative A. When you talk about flat chested, it is like flat as flat can be. I wear a size large, sometimes extra large sports bra because my back is so wide. Luke is like, we got to make sure it fits in the wedding dress. So I don't want to get too big. I'm like, okay, bro, you have me on like 3 back days a week. My back and shoulders look so ridiculous in a good way. But part of me is like, they're so flooded with blood like you, like my large sports bras get tight. To anybody else, they may think that they're getting fatter. So it's important just to distinguish between like it's like a constant educational process of like, it's not body fat overnight. You know, if you stress out, it could be water weight gain. Like if you have your menstrual cycle, I mean, you know, so much affects the scale. And that's why there's all those other things that you have to focus on, much of it being the recovery. Because guess what? The harder you recover, the less you'll feel gross and fluffy and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're still sitting, like, you go stress yourself at the gym, say you're eating in a way that stresses you out as well, like you're up here. If you're not allowing your body to actually rest and come back down to here, you're still in this state and your body's not able to digest. Like if you're having digestion issues or you think you have gut health issues, you don't need freaking poop tea. Like you do not need to buy poop tea or whatever poop supplements are out there. I'm saying poop because that's pretty much what they make you do. Like there is nothing magical about it. You just think they work because you just did some magical unicorn poop. No, like your gut is being a shithead because one, you are stressed out. Two, you haven't digested properly because you haven't allowed your body to digest. Like the opposite of stress is digest. If you're stressed, you can't digest. So you need to bring yourself back down. I was listening to someone who actually changed my view on eating after workouts. So he doesn't eat straight after a workout. What he does is he has this routine of he just takes the supplements he needs to take, like his vitamins and stuff after he works out. And then he does some parasympathetic activity or he goes for a walk. He does something to bring himself back down because he realizes after he trains, that training is a stress and he's still up here. If he doesn't bring himself back down to here before he then eats his meal, it's not going to actually process and assimilate and digest the way it needs to. So now I'm like, no, this is even more of a reason for me to continue the way that I am, which is what I do. I get home, I make myself, I make myself 3 teas and I wait until I finished those 3 teas before I actually consider eating, which takes me about, I'd say about 2 hours after I finish working out to actually eat my meal. But then I'm in a much more relaxed state. I've done all my main check-ins for my True Coach because that's my little True Coach hour. I go through everything in that period of time. And then I'm in a more relaxed state because, hey, that part of work's done. I'm not visiting True Coach until later on tonight. So I'm able to actually relax, eat my food, and it allows you to kind of set your tone for the day. Because if you're stressed out after you pretty much work out, then you're stressed out when you eat, what tone is that setting for the rest of the day?
Yeah, there's actually some research on that. There's actually, it's more in women that the growth hormone response increases a little bit more in women post-workout, and you kind of want to elongate that post-workout. And if I can't think of words, I'm going to blame diet brain, or it's done, like nighttime or whatever. So, but you know, now that my calories are pretty low and my gym is about 35 minutes away, I don't eat until I get home just to spread everything out. And I do feel better, like stomach wise, because again, we are like revved up after, and depending on what you did, most people will train and then just be done and leave, where you and I know, instruct people to do like some nasal breathing if they're doing a very hard, intense metabolic session or on the bike or whatever. But there's something to be said for that. Again, that whole nutrient timing argument, you know, if you're not a competitive athlete, there's really no reason that you have to eat 4 nanoseconds right after you train. There isn't, you know, and there's a lot of arguments. And granted, like if you train fasted, your muscles won't fall off if you wait another hour or so to eat. Like it's okay if you've done the work and built the muscle up and everything. So I think that you have a point there. That's great. And like, I'm glad that you tried that for yourself too, and were able to experience that. Do you have any clients doing that too?
I let them eat when they feel like they're hungry. So I usually get them to, instead of the nasal breathing, because that's hard for them to implement, I think about what is more practical for people to implement. I get them to do a short walk on the treadmill, but slow. Like use that I always try to get them to do a walk on the treadmill after they finish the session, but keep it slow paced, pick out your phone, listen to a podcast, do something that gets you reflecting, because too often our minds are so busy, we don't actually just slow down. And even though walking on the treadmill seems like it's not slowing down, it actually is, because it's so monotonous. Like, you're just doing the same shit over and over again. Like, what else is there to do except think or bring out your phone and actually do something that isn't training, that isn't work at home, that isn't the kids? Like, you need to put yourself first in that period of time and actually block it out so that you can give to the others. And if you're not blocking out that period of time away, you're not letting your body actually, you're too busy focusing on everything you aren't yet versus focusing on everything you just accomplished.
Yep.
And I find that walk, like, my favorite thing about every workout now is that walk afterwards. Because it's like, this is my time to just slow down. Because as soon as I go home, it's go, go, go again. It's thinking about what's the next thing to do, what's the next thing to do. But when I'm walking, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, hey, when I get up and do the bike, I thought I was going to be so freaking hungry. And like, I'm very similar to Luke says, where if he eats early, he's hungry the rest of the day. That's me. If I eat something early, I'll do the bike. I go for a walk around my neighborhood. I usually have a client every day at 9 a.m. So then I don't really eat anything until 11 or 12. And that's maybe a shake before I go to train. And I'll train at like 1 or 2. So fasted cardio. This is not like, you know, crazy 1 hour. It's 15 minutes. And then a nice walk gathers my thoughts, you know, get ready for clients and everything. It's a lot better and easier for me to eat something after all of that ritual, I guess you would call it. So it's great. Like, you know, telling people to eat when they're hungry is huge. I used to be that trainer, God, in my 20s. I'm like, no, it has to be every 3 hours. And you got to get the meals in. And, you know, try to do it every 3 hours. And like, people be like, you know, running home from work, like, oh my God, I'm late. If I get pulled over, I'm late for meal 3, like whatever, you know, like, oh my God, it was so embarrassing. I used to tell people that all the time. Like, this is like the ask Luke. I'm sure he was the same way because we're old. It was like the bro thing. Like, you had to get that in. It had to be like 5 or 6 meals. It couldn't be 3 because that wasn't enough.
That is, there, like, this dichotomous thinking is something that I think it just needs to be a chain of just talking about, stop the dichotomous thinking, because someone posted in a girls group, I just went for a run in the morning. I'm about to have my breakfast in about an hour, blah, blah, blah. And everyone just hopped on the post. Faster cardio is bad. There's no such thing about, she didn't ask advice about whether doing faster cardio is good or bad or not. She just, like, just because someone's doing something and it's working for them doesn't mean you just hop on about how faster cardio is. Like, people think because they know research, they can just spit it out at everybody. It's like, no, like, faster cardio works for so many people because, one, it's the only way to get and walk sometimes. And if you're not hungry in the morning, why force yourself? Because you're just going to leave pretty much no food for the rest of the day. And then what happens if you're starving at 6 p.m.? You're going to go raid your pantry. Like, something works different for everybody. And just because you think you know research doesn't mean just spit it out onto people's posts. Like you said it yourself, faster cardio is fine. Like, it works for some people because they're not hungry in the morning. Whereas with me, I need to wake up and eat. And then I don't eat again. Like, I eat at 5:30. And then I don't eat again. Like, I have my teas, but I don't eat again until 12:30, which is sometimes 1 o'clock. Like, my gap that I give myself is that 30-minute buffer. 12:30 to 1 o'clock is my first meal. And then my second meal is at 2:30. Like, I have my meals really close together towards the end of the day because I love food. So I rather have my meals close together towards the end of the day.
Yep.
versus having one meal here, and then like, find what works for you and stick with it. As long as you're at least getting in your protein boluses. Like, I get my protein bolus in my 4 serving. Like, I have 5 meals, 4 of them hit the leucine threshold for my protein. And that's all I care about. Like, the fact that I have 4 meals, hitting my protein, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And it's so simple, but we all make it complicated. And I try to warn people, like, if you ask the internet, you know, what should I have for dinner? You'll get 6,000 different opinions. And I swear you can change somebody's religion a lot quicker now than you can change their viewpoint on how to eat. And that's why the forums drive me absolutely crazy. It's just people arguing, and they say what works for them, and they're so not qualified to be giving this advice. Not that I'm saying I'm the smartest person in the world, but hey, if I post like, you know, does anyone know like a good cardiac surgeon around here? And, you know, Ruby, like, you know, had a heart arrhythmia or something, and you're like, well, you should do this because this is what worked for me when I had an arrhythmia. Like, how does that make any sense? And how does that make you qualified to tell me what to do? But it's the same with nutrition. I'm struggling with weight loss. Oh, do keto. I lost 40 pounds. Really? So you're going to like maybe mess up somebody's physiology by telling them because it worked for you? You know, that is a big trigger for me because it drives me crazy. And the time and energy spent responding to these people is not worth it. It's just not.
What are some things that you see as main trend, like shit that you used to fall for that you don't fall for anymore? Because
Oh my
you've been doing rounds with your diet, so you would know quite a few things that a lot of people can relate to on here.
So the carbs being bad type of thing, like I get that. I've been afraid of it too, and it's, you got to implement stuff slowly. But like going back to like the having to eat every 3 hours, like I would get so pissed if I was like with a client on the third hour. And then you mentally get hangry because you think you're supposed to eat, and your body gets tricked into like being hungry. Like it will get hungry at the cadence that you feed it. So it gets used to that. So thinking that that was a thing, or thinking that if somebody ate 2 meals a day, then all of a sudden they'd lose all their gains and everything. Like there's just so much. The organic stuff, I used to be very, very like all my clients, I want them to buy organic and wild caught and this, and I had nothing artificial in my body ever. And then I realized that that's actually a really big barrier for people's success, because if you're telling them not only do they have to buy all this protein and all these fresh vegetables, they have to buy it completely organic, which increases the financial output for them. It can be a barrier for a lot of people, which I had to kind of check myself and realize, well, with our agriculture system in the US, it really doesn't matter. As long as you're getting the protein in, that's the main thing. And there's some priorities that you can set for stuff that's organic, that's clearly sprayed with pesticides. Yes, maybe if we can get, you know, non-conventional produce like that, perfect. But if it's ground turkey, it doesn't have to be organic. I don't care. It's fine. If it's dairy, yes, let's try to strive to get that. So I'm not so militant about that anymore with people. Same with like, you know, like with Cool Whip. Like I never had Cool Whip when Luke told me to go get it, the sugar-free Cool Whip. I used to never do sugar-free anything. And then I realized, okay, sugar-free stuff really isn't that bad for you. It's not what people claim it is. I wouldn't drink 24 Diet Pepsis in a day, but you know what? I love Diet Pepsi. I can drink one a day. I'm not going to die. Because guess what? The environmental toxins around us that are causing everyone to have hormonal issues and men to have low testosterone are a much bigger problem than you having a Diet Coke or sugar-free Cool Whip or sugar-free Jello, stuff like that. Whatever it takes to get you to avoid binging or anything on some of the real stuff, I'm all for it. I used to be so like against that, and I'm like embarrassed about how I used to coach people, because it would be black and white and I would not meet people in the middle, and I didn't have the empathy. I just couldn't understand because I couldn't relate. And now that I'm older and I'll be 40 in October, I'm like, wow, you know, I've come a long way to the point where it's like, okay, people think I don't have children, I have all the time in the world to do XYZ. And I always used to be very defensive about that until all my friends started having kids and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I can put myself first in the morning and in the afternoon because I have no one else to take care of. I have a 45-year-old child, but that's it. So mothers and all that stuff, and expecting, you know, parents and single parents to have all these things that they have to do, it's just not reality. So it's picking the big rocks for people and helping them identify what are the two things that you can execute for you. and not have to have this laundry list of things that they have to be forced to do. That was a big mindset shift.
Thinking about what works for the person. And same with you, like, she's on freaking insane calories. Like, we're not going to actually put our macros out there, but it's insane to the point where I could not maintain it. But the thing is, you need to find what works for you with what you were given. Like, when I was on, I will actually say, because it was way back then, when I was on 1,100 calories on my Arnold prep ages ago, I would have like 2 7-Eleven Slurpees before I started eating my meals. Like, I would train fasted. I would get a 7-Eleven sugar-free Slurpee on the way home, and then before I ate, I would drive to the 7-Eleven near my house, get another sugar-free Slurpee, then drink that while I was making my food, and I wouldn't eat my first meal until 2:30 p.m. And then my last meal would be 5 p.m., and I would sleep, like, it was between 2 and 5, I would eat, like, 5 meals, like, just smash them together, because I was only on 1,100 calories. Yeah. And then I would be in bed by, like, 6 o'clock, because I was fucked. And that's the thing, like, that was before I built up my physiology. That was before I built up everything that I have now, which is why you will never see me doing that again, and I will have better coping mechanisms. Like, we do shit stuff. No idea what that was. We do shit stuff to, like, we learn from our shit stuff, and that's what makes us kind of really not want others to go through the same shit that we did, because it just led us to spinning our wheels and getting nowhere. Like, the way that Ali manages her abysmal food intake is, did you say you have 2 meals a day?
Right now I have 3.
3 meals a day, but eat them more towards the end of the day. Like, where do you eat your meals?
Yeah, roughly, like, I'll have a shake before training, and then between my training being around an hour and a half and then the drive home, I'm home around 4 or 5 o'clock, so I'll have like 2 meals before. I think 8 p.m. I have like protein pudding and stuff, and then I don't want to go to bed on a full stomach, you know. But that's how I shift it around, and I actually like the challenge. But again, reiterate, it's a short-term thing. So it's okay, because I know all that food will be here in the end. Now, if I had children who had like really delicious chicken fingers and stuff like that, I am sure it would be 10 times harder than it is for me right now. So I don't dismiss that, where parents are around and they take bites and all that stuff. The best advice I can give them is to actually track all those bites, because then you have an idea of what you're taking in. So I can't appreciate what it's like to have children when you're running around and you have all these different distractions and stuff. But I'll tell you what, being at home, it's a lot harder. Like that, I work from home much more now. When you're around the food and you have it in the house, it's definitely harder. But I can choose what I have in my house and what I don't. But if I had to feed a whole family, I don't know if I would have that choice. So it is a lot more difficult for people with those temptations and wanting to binge and have cravings and stuff.
But I guess that also comes down to you need to match your expectations with what's actually realistic for you. Like what you're achieving right now, I would not recommend someone with those situations to actually do what you are doing right now, especially short term. Like you need to see what you are able to do given your current circumstance. Like don't set yourself up with a task that you already know is going to be impossible for you because of your circumstance, because of your environment, right, because of what you're surrounded with. Because that's just going to reiterate the identity of a failure if it is out of your control. Like you need to see what you can control and actually set a goal setting checklist, not just one goal. And the reason why you keep saying it over and over again, it's short term. This is your dopamine response rewarding you for the challenge, which is why you love the challenge, because you know exactly what it's bringing you in this moment and what it's going to bring you at the end. And you're rewarding yourself along the way because it's freaking difficult. And you're saying, no, this is short term. That's your dopamine, like rewarding you for actually sticking to it short term. And that dopamine won't be there if, hey, your kids are enjoying all this other stuff, because what's your priority in that moment of time? Like you don't even know what your priority is because you're so overwhelmed with all your surroundings. Like pick what is for you. Don't say, no, I want to get as shredded as a freaking tick or a pin or tack or whatever you want to bloody euthanize there. But don't make that your short-term goal or any goal if it is not realistic for you in this moment. Like, be realistic. This is a lifestyle. You are getting married, which is why you want, like, you don't have to look like a bloody bodybuilder in the aisle, but you want to. That's what you want because it's realistic for you. Like, you don't have anything pushing you against that. So, hey, I want to see what my body can freakishly do because I've never been this lean before.
Right.
But that's not realistic for Tracy do with her kids.
No. And what I'm doing, we're crazy. Like, we discussed this. We're certifiably insane. I mean, even Luke says, like, nobody wants to do a cop prep for their wedding. But I'm more like, okay, you guys got me to this point of being physiologically ready to drop body fat. Let's see how far we can push it. And while we're at it, I'm going to have 150 of my closest friends around me and tons of pictures and video taken. Why not? Like, it gives me just a reason. Because, you know, all my friends, like, dig at me. They're like, so are you getting married in a bikini? Or are you going to have, like, a posing suit on with clear heel? Like, you know, I'm like, hey, I might surprise you people and just do that. But it's like, it's a fun challenge. And it's just like, you know what? I just hope the dress fits and it doesn't fall off. But I don't recommend trying to get this lean, especially when you're a small person and you're already pretty lean to begin with. It's psycho level to the point where the amount of commitment is far more than I would be able to handle had I been working on a training floor and all that stuff. Like, oh man, I mean, it consumes your life. Just like if you were competing, it consumes my life. I don't go out socially really. There's not a lot that I can do. I get tired, but hey, I can put my training first because I have nobody else really to worry about except Charlie, but he understands and he's very supportive. There's a lot of people who don't have a supportive spouse. It's very difficult for them. And I can't imagine if he didn't support what I do, it would be so stressful.
That's a really important thing. Like, you need to find your web of support as well. Sometimes it won't come from home. Sometimes it does come from having like a tribe online, or even like that's why I have Team Ruby there. That's why I have that group there, because a lot of the girls don't have that support. And it comes down to a lot of external factors, realizing, you said it yourself, like, you don't have the energy. People don't realize that it's not easy to get lean. Like, yeah, okay, it is simple as hell the way that it should be done if you do it right, but it's not easy. Like, you will get hungry and you will feel tired at times, depending on exactly which way you do it. Like, it shouldn't be hell though. It only becomes hell when you take it next level. And that's kind of why I stopped touting myself and being a comp prep coach. Like, no, I'm a lifestyle coach, but if people want to get comp lean, like, I have 2 girls that want to compete on stage. Yeah, if you want to compete on stage, I have the tools to get you there. If you want to compete on a powerlifting platform, I have the tools to get you there. But they're the extremes of where you want to go. Like, they're 2 different cases, 2 different sports. Right. But what we actually live and embody is a lifestyle. Like, you're living a lifestyle and you have an after plan. And it's not going to be dieting after dieting. It's going to actually be getting your physiology back to where it was before you started this cut, because you fuck up your physiology doing this stuff. Like, your hormones get tanked. Your gut probably feels like it's slowing down a bit with its digestion too. Like, everything slows down because it doesn't have the energy to work efficiently, which is why when you diet, you have to keep dieting on lower and lower calories, because your body has this much energy to do all its processes before. If you're not giving it food to do, like, your body doesn't just use energy to, like, train, to move here, to blink, to do all these weird fancy hand movements. The energy is for your brain. The energy is for your digestion. The energy is for your menstrual cycle. Like, if you're not giving your body the energy for those basic mechanisms, they all slow down. They use less energy. You need to give your body even less energy. And people don't see just how much they can metabolically adapt. And then if someone says, I'm hardly eating, and they literally are eating like 800 calories, they immediately shoot them down saying, nah, you're lying. Mm-hmm. Do you get that? Like, where people literally are eating like 800 or less calories, and people just don't believe it. And then you try to say, no, they were literally eating that much. And now look at where we got them.
Yeah, no, there are people that they just are oblivious to what they're actually eating, and it can be on the low side. Now, granted, I've had people who are on that low side who don't have a high activity level, so it's okay. People who have a very high activity level and they're not eating a lot, but then it's like, you know, all over the place. And then that's where the slow buildup of the calories comes from. And then you realize you feel better eating more, as everyone does, but it's always shocking, especially because we increase everyone's protein so much. That's the number one thing that I know you and I love, our protein. We're at 200 grams, and that scares the shit out of people because we're little girls eating 200 plus grams of protein. Like people, you know, we're below that now, but in general, normally most of the year, right? Most of the year when you're not supposed to be dieting, you and I are around 200 grams. Even my men, I use that to kind of poke at them. I'm like, yo, I eat 200 grams. I think I need you to eat a little more than me because you're like twice my size. And they're like, oh my God, you eat like 200 grams? Like, you know, they don't want to be the guy eating less than their female coach. So that alone makes people fuller, and it makes them, you know, collagen and all that bullshit now. Like, whatever, get your protein in, and fat can just fall off. That could be the one thing somebody does without doing anything else, and they can just see a result very quickly.
I'm so happy you touched on protein because it is one thing I struggle with so much with the girls. It's like protein. I eat really healthy. I have a salad and this and that and the other. There's no freaking protein on it. Like, people aren't realizing that they need to make like the main focus of every single meal protein. And a lot of the time they don't even know where that protein source is, even though you're telling them, here are the protein sources. And sometimes they're even scared to like use protein powder because they think they need to lose weight, and they associate protein powder with putting on weight or gaining. And it's like, no, like it's a food source. Like, protein is a food source. It's a whey counterpart. Like, yeah, you can say it's a supplement because it's supplementing your food, but it's still a type of food source. It's not just not a bolus. It's not just a sporadic random whatever you want to add into your diet. Like, you need to get in your protein, and people are fearful of that, or they just don't put a priority on it because they don't realize just how important it is. But it could be the one thing that changes your whole body composition and the way that you then approach food, because you won't be craving so many things. Your body will start to digest better because it's suddenly got enzymes working, because protein are enzymes and enzymes are protein. Like, it goes beyond just muscle, like hair growth, nail growth, your skin. Like, there are so many benefits to protein. Oh, I just need to say protein one more time. Like, protein. Like, get it in. Like, even the guys, as soon as you give the guys protein, you'll realize that, hey, they even have more energy, right?
Yep. They're like, you know, I feel better, I feel different. So, and I'm like, yeah, it's just adding food. So we're adding food and we feel better. What's the problem? They're like, no, nothing. Okay. You know, granted, the scale will go up at first, of course, because it's an increased amount of food, but as long as we explain that to them. But Luke added 20 grams of protein for me last night, and I was like so excited, like 20 more grams, because again, the leaner you get, the more protein you need. So it has so many benefits, but it's, and there's so much, I don't know where that whole like protein shake was like a weight gainer thing, or do I have to drink shakes after training? Like, it didn't have to be an only after training thing. I'm not sure where that came from. I really don't remember. I don't know if you know the source of that, but people do associate that with either weight gain or only ingesting after training. Because like there's shake diets and stuff out there. I think that's why.
It's ridiculous what actually what these people come into, and they hold it as like their gospel, and it's too hard to move that. But then once they realize how they feel on it, it becomes like that. Someone just said guilty. It becomes that like positive reinforcement of, hey, I'm actually doing good. And I'm feeling better. But people don't tune into their feelings. They're so focused on numbers and like all that other stuff. And I really wanted to actually just have you talk about how like stress in itself can make that look harder, and also the like how you can't just demonize cortisol and try to reduce cortisol when it comes to stress, because you're really good with all that hormone stuff. And I think everyone needs to hear it loud and clear about cortisol, stress, and fat.
Cortisol does get demonized just because I think cortisol and insulin are the two hormones that people associate negatively. And they're actually the two hormones that if we don't have, we will die. And this is why type 1 diabetics who do not produce insulin need to be on insulin so they don't die. So it's a necessary hormone. And they're both messenger hormones. They're both hormones that when things happen in our body, they react. Cortisol is very protective. We actually need it. And the analogy that I use is that like everyone's trying to reduce it. There are times we want it to be high, like in the morning when we wake up. Cortisol wakes us up. The reason why a lot of us struggle with sleep is because we're in our phones, you know, checking social media. People are pissing us off, you know, arguing over political stuff. That stimulates a release of cortisol because it's light in our face and our body doesn't know the difference between artificial light or the sunlight. So it's like, oh, it's time to wake up, even though it's 11 p.m. And what happens is when something goes up, something else has to come down. So when cortisol goes up at night, melatonin is not going to go up, it's going to go down. And melatonin is what helps us sleep. And so when we release melatonin, we release growth hormone, which helps us recover. But those are not going to come out of hiding if we have cortisol high at night. So we want it to be high in the morning and it dips, and then it comes up a little bit in the afternoon and then it dips again. When we're training, it absolutely, we want it to be high, because also while we're training, we release growth hormone, we release testosterone, we release IGF-1 and ephedrine, epinephrine, adrenaline, all those things. All those hormones together create this very potent fat burning soup. A lot of good things happen because they act together very well. It's like humans are social in a group. They act very well together. When they're isolated, it's a little different. So when cortisol's with its friends of like IGF-1 and testosterone and all that, it's a very good thing. When we're done training, that's why we usually have carbohydrates, because the insulin in the carbs opposes the cortisol to bring it down. And that's the whole reasoning of post-workout carbohydrates, is to lower that. We don't want it to stay high the rest of the day. That's why we don't want to be, you know, crushing a bang or, you know, espresso right after our training. It's we want our body to go into that rest and digest mode. And that's kind of the pattern that we want it. So we don't always want to chronically lower it, and we definitely don't want to lower it when we're training. And think of the immune protection too. There's a reason, like if you hurt yourself, if you sprain your wrist, what happens? It gets big, it gets inflamed. It's releasing things to protect that area. And it's the same thing when we have an immune response, and cortisol increases to protect us. And that's the problem where, like, if people go on vacation and they're, you know, rest and digest and they're all like, you know, relaxing, they'll get sick a lot of the times. Or if I have clients that I know are going to come from a high stress environment and we're bringing them into a low stress environment, I've told them, listen, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to get sick. And they think I'm like this wizard, like, you know, in the week, they're like, oh my God, I have a head cold, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But no, it's just like, you know, I've seen this a million times where if you put the body in a chronic state of stress, it's going to react a certain way. It's not going to allow you to get sick because it's protecting you. But once we kind of release all that and you're lying on a beach, you're eating whatever you want, you're kind of relaxing, oh my God, it lowers down, you lose weight, but you get sick. And so that's kind of why we don't want to demonize things. Same with insulin. It's such a rabbit hole. I would not, if you do not have diabetes and you do not have insulin resistance, please do not worry about how much sugar you're consuming until it becomes a problem. There's ways we can test for that if we really have to. We can do glucose tests, all that stuff. But honestly, you see the cereal that Ruby crushes after her training. Don't worry about it. I used to be that person. I used to be like, don't eat cereal, it's bad. Like, dude, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like the best thing on the planet. So that's my spiel.
Luke doesn't think that Wheat Bix is a cereal. He thinks that it's too abysmal to be considered a cereal.
Dude, I don't know what it is. It just looks like these massive, like, we have shredded wheat here. Do you guys have that? That's what it looks like, but like on steroids.
You and I like volume food. Shredded wheat and Wheat Bix is volume food.
Yes, and I cannot wait to get over there when you guys finally open your borders and travel's like allowed, because literally, talk about having a tribe, like, you know, you, Rebecca, Zoe and Luke, like the whole tribe over there. Like me and Krista are going to come visit.
That will be awesome. We have to do like a 10,000 calorie kind of bender thing. Luke!
No, I'm going to watch you do that. This is so much fun.
I know, it'll be awesome. Like that's the other thing as well. Like, people don't realize that training induces cortisol. Like, training is catabolic. It is not a time when you're building muscle.
Right.
It is a time when you're breaking down muscle. It is catabolic. Eating is anabolic. You need to have your anabolic and your catabolic processes leveled out if you actually want to prevent muscle loss. And stress is also catabolic. So if you're stressed out and you're training and you're not eating much, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. And the more that you chronically try to diet, you're going to lose more muscle. And then say, hey, I'm looking like a shit tick and a skinny fat noodle. It's time to actually try and put on some muscle. You feed yourself up. You feed yourself up. Fat comes up here. Your muscle doesn't really do much because your physiology is whacked. And then you think you look like shit. You didn't really give it enough chance. You start dieting again. Your muscle goes down a little bit more because you're in a physiologically shit state. And your fat is just going up. Your muscle is just going down. And that's not really the body composition we want, is it? No. And, like, you're seeing it now because you've never looked this, like, jacked yet lean before. Before it was, like, lean, but skinny lean, like, fat lean, like,
I gotta show
skinny.
you, like, pictures of the show I did in 2011. I look better now than I did then, and I was 118 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilos, but it was, it's pretty funny because it was just all, like, I lost all muscle, like a lot of people do.
And you were scared of carbs then, and that's the thing. People think that carbs is the devil. When I remember when Luke jacked my carbs up because I went to him on 160 carbs, and he was trying to get me to eat up to 300. And I had to do a step-by-step process as well. He's like, okay, cool. Just give me 200 for now. Cool. You managed that for a week. Let's go up to 250. Cool. Now let's go up to 300. And I finally had abs at 300 because my body was actually relaxed and able to put the carbs to where it was needed. Whereas when you're stressed out, your body is going to hold on to more water. It's going to put more shit into the fat because you're not physiologically able to actually put the shit, by shit I mean nutrients and food and whatever the hell, into the muscle. So the shit goes into the fat. Like, you need to have your body in a state where it's actually putting the food where it needs to go. Like, do we need to go into muscle? Do we need to go into liver? Do we need to go into brain? Where do we need to go?
1000%. You should make that the title of like this video. I had abs finally at 300 grams of carbs.
Both of us. You were at 2. Yeah.
I love it. Dude,
do you reckon that's
good.
A good title?
What's that?
Do you reckon that's a good title for this then?
I do. I think that's awesome. What do you guys think? Anyone? No questions, nothing. We're down to 5 people. That was a good run though.
That was fun. That was really fun.
It was. We'll have to do a part 2 for sure and go down some more rabbit holes.
Yeah, especially like the stuff that you love talking about, like the hormone stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then
boners.
Bring some brain stuff because I'm trying to like get more of the brain stuff. So the hormone stuff especially, because everyone's trying to like be a hero for hormones. And I think if we clarify a few things there, it will actually really help.
I do.
Thank you. Everyone's saying,
Jackie.
yay!
Jackie.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, my love.
Yay.
Well, have a great day, and I'm going to go eat.
What's your meal up to now? Is that the chicken bowl?
I'm into like air fried carrot sticks right now. It's like my jam. And I put powdered monk fruit on it. It's like confectioner sugar, but it's monk fruit. Oh my God. So good.
Have you done pumpkin in the air fryer?
Not yet. I'll have to try that one though. That's a really good. I've done butternut squash.
Yeah. Same thing. If you do both of those, but you have like half. On one half you have like the sweetener. Like I put little maple drops on half of it, and on the other half of it I put chicken salt.
Yes.
So, but I never gave you my egg white recipe. Egg whites into the air fryer, and you put in cardamom ground, like cardamom seeds ground. You put in nutmeg. You put in cinnamon, and you can also put in a little bit of allspice.
Wow.
You can put in cloves as well if you want, but if you put that into the air fryer with, like, you whisk the shit out of it and you put baking powder in it, it tastes like donut. It tastes like a freaking donut, and it's only egg whites. It's like a 200 calorie. It's like this big, 200 calories worth of donut.
I need to do that.
It's so good. It is so good. But yeah.
Katrina, tell us what you would like to know about hormones. Message Ruby or me. I don't know who you follow which, but yeah.
Yes, my girl. Tell us what you want to know about hormones down below. If you have anything else you want to add, I'll probably also add it into the caption when I put this up later. So that, I'll put into the caption, add it in if you have any questions about hormones, any questions about carbs, any questions about, what else can we talk about?
Sex.
Love, sex, magic,
Bonus.
good stuff. Yeah, her specialty is boners. My specialty is not boners. Because I don't work with men. But yeah, so if there's anything at all, she will talk about hormones, talk about cortisol, stress, carbs, chronic dieting, and all the good stuff.
I love it. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ruby. Mwah. Have a good night.
Have a good day, night, evening.
Night, day, whatever.
Right there.